Hey, good Monday, world. This is Jerry Hinkle with the Mind of the World, coming to you almost live, just about pretty near from the Ashley Kringen studios of the Holabird Advocate Media International headquarters. So what's going on with what's on the mind of the world today? Quite a few things. Some of us are preoccupied with what's going on in North Korea and in America and in Guam. That's even with everything else going on in the world, that's never too far from my thoughts. I know that. And of course, the events going on in that is the offense that went on in South Carolina. That's on a lot of folks' minds too. But the name of this particular episode is the truth about the First Amendment. See, there's a lot of misconceptions on what the First Amendment does. A lot of people, oh yeah, it's just freedom of speech, and there are other things involved in that, which we will get to later. But people, there's this misconception that First Amendment gives us the freedom of speech, which says we can say what we want, when we want, how we want, and if people don't like it, they can, hard cheese. That's not exactly what the First Amendment is all about. Now, if we feel free, after we're done here, you go find yourself a copy of the Constitution, and you look at the First Amendment, and you see if I'm not telling you the truth here. But it's been a while since I've read that part of the Constitution myself. But as best I can recall, it says, Congress shall make no law respecting the freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, and freedom of speech, not necessarily in that order, but, or the free exercise thereof. Now, see, that just says Congress shall make no law, and it does not say that if you say something that there's no consequences, because there's always consequences whenever you speak freely, and sometimes there are consequences we can live with and some that we can't. And so we've got to, it's one thing about our Constitution. The First Amendment gives us the freedom of speech. There's a part in there that, according to a Supreme Court ruling, the Miranda ruling, that we also have the right to remain silent. Of course, we have to decide ourselves which one of those rights we exercise and when. So, but see, so that's how that come about. And one of the biggest challenges to the First Amendment was the deal with the Westboro Baptist Church. They took that sucker all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, yeah, they got a First Amendment right to protest at the funerals, to picket at the funerals of the servicemen and all the other folks that they picket. And so I put a lot of people hot, and I can see why that is. However, this takes some thought. You look at it, and yes, it's offensive to some people, but see, they're given the freedom of speech. We are given the freedom not to listen. So I tend to ignore that when it's going on, and maybe I'm doing myself and my country and even my world a disservice when I do that, because well, and the deal with that football player that that I will not, whose name I have not mentioned and will not mention here either, but he's making $17 million a year. He was making $17 million a year until the NFL team that he was on decided that he could become a free agent, and meaning that the next time he plays football, it's going to be for free, unless he gets signed up with another team. I don't know how that works, but a lot of people want to boycott the NFL because they won't let him, sit down and do the kneeling thing during the national anthem. Well, there's a lot of folks, even folks that don't follow the NFL, are offended by that he does that. And of course, there's people that, well, you know, so they, but you know, that's the thing about it is, yeah, he's got the right to not stand up, and the NFL has the right to get rid of him if they don't like what he's doing, because the First Amendment only says Congress shall make no law. It doesn't say anything about the NFL. So the NFL is pretty much, you know, they can do what they want to here. So, and of course, freedom of speech also lets those of us who disagree with what he's doing to say so. And I've tried to be civil, because Proverbs 15 verse 1 tells us that a gentle answer turns away wrath. And so I look at it as, you know, what he did offended some folks, but and while I disagree with what he did, I try not to be offended, because I don't understand why he's doing it. You know, I don't get the correlation between not standing up for the national anthem, for the Star Spangled Banner, and how that's supposed to correlate with the killing of black people. It just, the two of them to me don't seem connected. They do to some people, and I guess that's all well and good for them. Anyhow, so and of course, they're still trying to figure out what's going on in South Carolina, so I'm not going to talk too much about that, except to say that I myself do not approve of anyone dressing up like Nazis and to celebrate, of all things, white pride. You know, I'm not proud of the color of my skin, because I was born with it. That was God's decision. That wasn't, you know, I can't be I can't be proud of something that I had nothing to do with. So you know, I guess the only thing, I have Walmart pride. I'm proud to be a Walmart associate. Sometimes I'm more proud of it than I am at other times. Sometimes when I get home at night and I'm so stiff and sore that the last thing I want to do is get out of bed. Well, we're getting off the subject anyhow. But yeah. So, the First Amendment, like most things, you know, you can't say fire in a crowded theater. That's the one thing that that's not a Supreme Court decision. And anyhow, that's pretty much gonna do it for this week. And if you like what I have to say, give the old video a thumbs up. If you don't like what I have to say, you know, there's always the comment section. Let me know when I say something that you don't like, and we'll talk about it, because, you know, that's the best way to figure it. And remember, a gentle answer. So until next time, God be with you. Do the best you can and get out of my bathroom.